Hi, everyone. I'm Jessie,
Hi, I'm CeeCee.
and we wanted to come to you today with this video, this live chat that Chrissy and I are having because we've had a lot of questions and we've had a lot of people contact us. So we thought it would be a great way for us to get together and have a quick chat and talk about what we're doing, talk about why we're doing it, and the avenues that you can take to build a home practice to ultimately reduce your stress, right? Now that we don't have our normal means accessible to us. So again, Chrissy and I wanted to take the opportunity to talk to you about the different avenues of that or that we are taking currently to be able to get yoga to you.
Right. So, one of the avenues that Jess and I have talked about was allowing us to offer these online classes and giving them to you for free and making them accessible, not only live and having them free, but also giving you access to a YouTube channel where you can access them to your convenience, because some of you are still working and aren't able to be home to catch us live, and you'll still be able to benefit from these classes while you're home.
Yeah, and Chrissy and I, when we, chose to close the studio, because we closed right before they forced. So when we chose to close the studio, we knew that it was still important to be able to, or it was important to us, I should say, to make yoga accessible to, everybody. And not just people who pay, and because it's important, in our opinion, and I don't want to speak for Christy, but we've had many conversations about this, that it is important to be able to get this type of, or have this type of access to information now more than ever, because as Christy said, a lot of people are still working, or they've lost their jobs, or now they're homeschooling and working at the same time. So there's a lot of different diverse scenarios and situations that are going on with people at home, and or just in their own personal lives. And Christy and I wanted to stress that we do genuinely believe that there is really no right or wrong to any of this and what anybody's choosing to do at this moment. But I know for Chrissy and I, it's important that we just allow the information to get out there, not just in a join class now setting, but for people who want to do it overnight, or fall asleep to it, or wake up to it, or have this at their fingertips at any time.
Yeah, when we were even running that last week and our classes being limited amount of people, we were only having 10 people in class. And I was noticing had a lot of people that were still working in pharmacies, in minute clinics, our nurses, our doctors, and sometimes I was even seeing them as much as twice a day. They were coming in before their work shift. They were making us their last stop before they went home. And that's one of the main reasons why, when Jessie and I were talking, I still felt as though there was that need to still be able to serve the community in that way, because they were reaching out saying, thank God I still have this. This is my decompression moment before I have to go home to my family. And it was a way for them to still have that time to take care of themselves. And that is a really, really important part of the foundation of the school. The yoga school is not just a school where we just practice yoga and it's just your average yoga studio. I look very much at our school as it's a wellness center. It's a center where people come to enjoy community and figure out a way to take care of themselves. I say it all the time. And, for those of you that are listening or watching, that after every class, and I post it daily, that self-care is our divine responsibility. And in times like this, it's so vital and crucial to our everyday. And we wanted to be able to give that back to the community still in times like this, even more so.
Yeah, I believe if not now, then when, more
Then
so
when?
than ever. Self-care is your first line, or is it people's, in our opinions, first line of defense to maintaining your own personal health, well-being, and your mental health. And with the now, circumstances that we're under, where people are being isolated and or quarantined to sometimes a house or even specific rooms, depending on, you know, what they have going on. And it's a lot. It's a lot for people to mentally digest. And I know just from what Chrissy and I are doing, and you guys know Chrissy has 3 kids, and, you know, with her parents with her in her home, and there's 6 there. I have 5 kids and my partner Brent, so we have 7 here. So to keep these amount of people, you know, quarantined and locked up and homeschooled, and,
Yeah.
you know, different opinions and beliefs and backgrounds and all kinds of stuff, you know, happening under one roof where you can't get a break, you know, your break now has to become your disconnection from the outside environment and to go within. And this now to us having that, not just a physical yoga practice, but to begin to develop a way to go within and to begin to start a meditative practice, is a big deal. And, you know, Chrissy and I wanted to talk to you all about how to begin to build that home practice, because sometimes it's very challenging for hot yogis, because we find hot yogis are the type A personality. Hot yogis are movers and shakers of the community. That's no offense to any other lineage, you know, just that type of personality we see. They're the leaders of the community. They're the go-getters. They want a classroom. They want a group of people around them to motivate them to do it. They want to feel challenged, if not just physically, but by the heat. And now all of that has come onto the responsibility of the practitioner, rather than having someone specifically guide you and lead you through that every day.
Right. I mean, and two, you know, for a lot of our practitioners, we still have a lot of people that not only are a mover and a shaker, but we have a lot of people that sought out the heat because of things that are going on with their own body and their own health. So to have these people have that heat taken away from them and still try to allow their bodies to still feel good as they move through a home practice is, like Jess was saying, very challenging, because there is moments where you could stop and just say to yourself, well, do I want to move through this practice right now and feel uncomfortable, or do I just want to skip it? And that's a big thing on why this mental health and this going within is huge, because we do have to kind of motivate ourselves every day to make that step, to do a practice that maybe it's not in our comfort zone. We're really uncomfortable moving, not being in the heat.
Oh yeah, Chrissy and I, if you guys know or don't know, but both Chrissy and I, you know, we like our heat. we definitely,
sure.
you know, we definitely like our heat, and we like to move in the heat. You know, Chrissy has her arthritis in her hips and her osteoarthritis, which at some points were debilitating to her. I'm immunocompromised, and I swear by the heat, and I have sworn by that for years. If you guys have followed me and known my story of the healing, you know, physical and mental that I've been able to do with the tool of the heat, and for Chrissy as well. So we have a lot of people who come to the studio not for just an outlet or a mental health or an exercise routine, but we have genuine people, ourselves included, who come to us for the relief of illness.
Yeah.
And so now when we're taking that relief from our illness home and we don't have that anymore, I know for myself, first, you know, week, body was like, whoa, what's going on? My skin is changing. My, you know, how I move is changing. My inflammation responses are changing. How I eat is changing. You know, so it was important, again, for us, for Chrissy and I, to be able to talk to you about these things, to let you know, basically, you are not alone. You are not alone. They are things that Chrissy and I are battling and have challenges that we're overcoming day by day, sometimes hour by hour. And, you know, it's important for us to communicate that message that there are workarounds, although not ideal.
Right.
Right.
Right. Not always ideal. But, you know, I even kind of tried to communicate this in the post that I made today. I took class this morning. Jess was on Zoom. We did a vinyasa class. And, even though that movement for me can feel really difficult in my body, I know, just as I say to everybody else, that movement is just going to facilitate more movement, right? But it's getting through. I know I say it all the time, and it is kind of funny. Of something that I do say is like, sometimes it sucks, and sometimes we have to just decide and choose to move through the suck to get on the other side of it, because we know once we're on the other side how much better we feel. It's even harder home.
Yeah. And I think, if one of the biggest things we can communicate is that any movement, any movement, whether you're choosing to do it with shapes and yoga postures, or you're running, or you're walking, or you're lifting, or anything, any movement is good. Again, there's no right or wrong to this. If you are someone who is in a position where you rely on the yoga for your health and your wellness, specifically either injuries, body, muscles, any type of healing, then you just have to understand the basic concept that the heat makes things happen quicker and exponentially faster. So the heat is there to almost speed up the process of the healing, because it allows the blood flow to become a little bit more thin, which will carry more oxygen. Oxygen is your catalyst for healing, in a nutshell, right? But when we don't have that heat, your movement is still good. We just want to be able to help people understand that your body is going to feel different not having the heat. So we can't ask the body to focus more on flexibility when, our movements might be compromised and or less, especially if we have underlying issues or we have, contraindications happening. It's just going to happen. So if we put out a live video, whether it's, a 26-2, or whether it's a flow, or whether it's a power hour, because people like that as well, we just want to talk about doing less of it, in the actual physical movements, and let the strength of your body kind of carry you, and just make the range of motion in the movements smaller. Sometimes we might move quicker just to get the heart rate up, or just to get the internal heat going if we move the flow a little faster. Right. But that faster doesn't mean bigger movements.
Right. And faster doesn't always necessarily mean better. Right. So, look at it from this little bit of perspective, because we do have to really shift gears. And this is a huge shift in gears for us, because instead of having that expectation of a practice that you're comfortable with, that's familiar, this unfamiliar practice is actually going to make us a little bit wiser in our body, right? Start bringing our awareness to our body movements, and where we need to kind of put more strength in, how our alignment is, because that flexibility is not there. So holding still, we may not go as far, but we have to hold even going a little bit less, and that's going to take more strength. So it's a new perception of our body movements and where we're landing within our body that's a little bit unfamiliar. But everything we learn here, we're still going to take it back to the room with us when we're ready and able to get back there, right? So whatever it is we start to learn and understand about our body, it's just going to benefit us in the long run when we move back into our normal practice and that normal groove and jive that we like.
And I think it's important too to communicate that the body will respond. So initially, especially if you're a hot yoga person that comes every day, even 3 times a week, at first your body's gonna be like, yeah, where's the heat? And unless you're lucky enough to have a sauna at home, or you can, great alternatives would be taking hot baths multiple times a day. I know sometimes I'm in there taking a hot bath 3 times a day, taking hot showers, I put hot compresses on my face to help keep the eczema down and to help keep the inflammation down. So, there are alternatives that are workarounds, but the main message is that the body will respond again. It's going to take some time for it to get used to it. But once remember, body's a self-healer. It's very intelligent. It will adapt to what you're asking it to do when we ask to do it in an efficient way and in a healthy way.
Right.
So
and being very patient too with ourselves through the process. You know, you may need to just take it one step at a time. Maybe not even being able sometimes to make it through a whole class online or whatever, just trying to get used to those movements of the body, being in a different environment under different levels of stress. You know, that's a big thing too. You may not feel like you have stress, but if you think about it, right, taking care of ourselves is what we do, how we move, what we eat, how we speak, what we hear, and what we listen to. No, hearing and listening to is two different things. And every single one of them hit us on a cellular structure. So we really do have to be very kind to ourselves and to our body as we're moving through this process, because it takes time and it does take patience.
yes, and if we're looking for that almost euphoric feel that the room gives you when you're done, we encourage people to move your body physically. If you really sit with your body for a moment and you ask it what it needs, it will tell you. Not what it wants. Now it is what you get to just really say, body, what are you telling me right now? And if you sit and listen, the body will tell you what it needs. And if it's like, you know what, I need to walk. You know what, I need to move. Okay, how would you like to move? So what do I want to eat? Okay, let's discuss that, right? So, but right now we're just talking about the physical. So if you really sit and say, what do we want to do right now? How do we want to move? And however you move to get out the physical energy, move to actually allow the stress to move through the body. And then this is where the other point comes in now. This is the second piece. Then that's when you develop a meditative practice, because now you move however you're going to move to let the energy release from the body. And then you sit in meditation. So, and meditation can come in all different forms, but really to achieve what we are trying to achieve in the efficiency of a 60-minute hot class or a 90-minute hot class, you might have to take 2 or 3 different avenues to achieve it day by day, but you can get there, right? And your meditation, whatever form of meditation you choose. Now, there are various types of forms of meditation which resonate with people on many different levels, right? We can mantra, we can have guided meditations where you go on a journey, you can simply pray, right? These things can be spiritual or they can be non-spiritual, again, depending on whatever resonates with you. But either way, whether you're spiritually going about it or you're not spiritually going about it, it's still making the brain connect and focus in a specific way that will make you feel euphoric.
Right.
Plus it will strengthen the muscle of the brain. Remember, the brain's a muscle, right? So it will strengthen the muscle of the brain, and it will allow you that disconnection from reality for a little bit. And then when you come out of it, you will be able to move with a little bit more ease in the confines of what you have.
Yeah, and take note that Jess said with more ease, right? We're not saying that all of these things and all of these practices are going to make everything easy, because that's very, very different, right? It's just kind of, it's almost as if what we're doing now is we're just changing and rebuilding the toolbox that we thought we already had to kind of help us, and we're restructuring it to our new conditions, right? So going through every day and going through your regular routine, you already had your toolbox. You know what you needed, you knew what time you needed to do it, you knew what time it had to fit in. And even when we didn't fit it in through our regular normal schedule, we still got a little bit cranky. And now you're telling us to all sit in a house together, and we're not allowed outside, and we're used to a community. And now we have to not only restructure the way we move, but now we have to restructure a lot of different tools in our toolbox to help us move about this with ease. And, meditation, and Jess will tell you, and for those of you that know me, know that this is not a secret. Meditation was something that I avoided for a very, very long time because it made me uncomfortable. Well, that uncomfortableness that I got is really because that was that missing piece to my practice. And being here and being home and going through this has allowed me to explore that even more. And I have realized how valuable it is to even myself being home, that I didn't realize how valuable it was. Even though I did it, it's much more valuable to me now.
And I think that's great points, Chrissy. And I think what we're overall trying to communicate on the bigger picture is that we're settling into the new norm for right now. Maybe if it's a short-term new norm, or if it's a long-term new norm, we're figuring out our new normal. So in our new normal, there is no right or wrong. However, in our new normal, it will allow us to find things more with ease if we are open to receiving concepts that maybe we were not as open to before, finding an alternative form to something. Right. And for myself, all different forms of meditation. Chrissy can attest to this. Sometimes, and you even seen it on the YouTube, sometimes it's mantra based, sometimes it's guided, sometimes it's concentration based, sometimes it's Kriya, sometimes I'm very spiritual, sometimes it's only mindfulness, sometimes it's only breath. And I encourage, Chrissy and I want to be able to be like a resource guide for people. We don't have all the answers. And I think that's also another point to communicate. We don't have, but Chrissy and I have developed a great network of people to be able to point you where to go if we're really looking for something. Right. And we have put out videos that we think will allow us to move very efficiently within the space and under the circumstances that we have. So again, like accessing our YouTube channel right now, we currently have up a guided mantra. And for those of you who don't know a mantra, it's just a repetitive sound over and over and over again. And we also just put one up last night or the other night, and it was literally 15 minutes to stress relief. And it's a mindfulness journey where it's completely different than, a mantra-based spiritual something. So again, I hope or encourage everybody to be open to new things, because right now these tools and these resources, people like Chrissy and I have had for a lot of years. Yeah. And now they're like, oh, okay, that's something we can do at home. Okay, these are things that we don't need, quote, quote, need anything to do.
Right.
We want to be able to have people find the ease within themselves. We don't need to have money to mantra. We don't need to, we don't need these outside materialistic things in order to go within and find peace. And as modern day yogis, as mothers, as business owners, as people who are like on the forefront, I think with a lot of this stuff and with the community and seeing what they're going through, it's important for sure to allow people to have access to these tools.
Yeah, I mean, I can speak probably for Jess and I, even when I say this, as we have a yoga practice that even helps us feel good, and that's part of our self-care. On the flip side of that, we're teachers. So that part of being able to be of service and know that we're here to help other people or offer support, right? Because that's a big thing. We have learned to take a huge supportive role in a big community. And when you even take that part of our role away, I went through a period of time where I sat and I said to myself, oh my gosh, I feel helpless. I almost kind of feel a little bit useless. Like I almost had to sit and repurpose myself in all of this newness because it was so weird and unsettling for me. So it gives us that self-care for us to still be able to be of service, because people depended on that kind of support.
Yes. So Chrissy and I, CeeCee and I are here to offer support to all of you at any time via any means. If you want to email us, if you want to Facebook us, if you want to Instagram us, I'm sure half of you have text numbers. You know, if you guys are in need of support, or if we are here and can provide yogic support, however that means and whatever it looks like, and we'll just let it take shape for that way. Our biggest way to be able to help the most people was to be able to get the videos out there and give people access to it at any time. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel and get our updates if you're not already on the newsletter. And if you have any specific questions about developing a meditation practice, maybe that will be a later chat for Chrissy and I, where we actually dive into exactly how the body will feel when you're building a home practice. And then I know we touched a little bit on things today, but all this stuff, we can go down a rabbit hole for a long period of time.
Yeah, we definitely could.
Yes. So subscribe to us, stay in touch with us, let us know your thoughts, your feedbacks, your comments. We are just here to be of service in whatever way that looks like, even if it's just moving your body, even if it's just text, we're here.
Yeah, I mean, even if it's something as simple as, how are you? I'm trying to even keep up with, a lot of the nurses that I know that are still on the front lines of all this, and just that simple message of, I'm thinking of you, I'm here to support you. We really are here. We don't just say it just to say it because it sounds good. We really are here, and we will give whatever it is that needs to help and support you guys to just feel better and help you move through it.
And a lot of people have actually contacted us to ask how they could support us, which is very nice of everybody.
Yes.
Very, very much
Very much appreciate that.
For thinking of us. So if you are one of those people that asked, how can I help the studio monetarily, because we don't know how we're going to pay our rent, we're going to trust the universe and just show that it all works out. But if you do want to support us, please support us by subscribing.
Yes.
And sharing. Yeah. And subscribe and share. That's
subscribe and share. Yep. Because this is, humanity needs to come together big time. This is a really big, big moment for us to just take the time to support one another, be there for one another as a unit.
Yep. And that's yoga. Right? Community, connection. It's all, we can go down a rabbit hole of what is yoga. Everything is yoga. But that's yoga, staying connected. So we thank you for logging on. We thank you for watching, for being a part of us. Subscribe to us, and listen to our other videos that we have coming out. And we thank you from the bottom.
Thank you. Thank you so much.